Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where rivers sleep, mountains remember, and dreams carry the shape of worlds not yet born. The night the water stopped breathing, long before mortals learned to read the sky, before mountains lifted their crowns of ice, the world held a river unlike any other. It was known as Silma, the quiet river. Its waters so clear they reflected not only the sky but the thoughts hidden beneath one's ribs. Silma had never stopped flowing, not even in the oldest stories, until one night it did. The villagers awoke to a silence so deep it swallowed their words. Birds perched on branches without singing. The air trembled, as if holding its breath, and the river, once alive with movement, lay completely still, like glass, like sleep, like a story waiting to continue. Only one person dared approach the silent water, a young girl named Lyria, whose curiosity was sharper than fear. She knelt beside the still surface and whispered, "Why aren't you moving?" And the river answered, not with sound, but with a ripple, a single trembling line across the water. The river had whispered, but what? The girl who heard water dream. Lyria leaned closer. The water shimmered as though lit from below. Flecks of light swirled like stars trapped beneath the surface. And then, as gently as a sigh, a feeling washed over her. I am dreaming. Lyria drew back in shock. Rivers didn't dream. They flowed. They carried. They remembered only through movement. But Silma was dreaming. And within its dream, Lyria sensed something vast, a shape rising from deep within the water's memory, a longing so ancient it had never found words until now. The river dreamed of mountains, the memory of height. The vision came to Lyria like a tide breaking over her mind. She saw towering peaks, impossible, shimmering, crowned with frost. She felt wind that tasted of stone and sky. She felt weight, immensity, stillness, the opposite of water, yet somehow connected. Silma's whisper grew clearer. Once I fell from great heights. The river dreamed of its origin, of the mountain it had once been. Before time softened stone into water, the river was not sleeping. It was remembering. When rivers remember too much, the sky dimmed, clouds gathered. A strange heaviness settled over the valley. Lyria felt the river's dream turning restless. Water was meant to move, to forget, to travel light. But Silma held the weight of mountains now, and in that weight was sorrow. Because memory, when carried too long, becomes a burden. The river whispered again, I miss what I was. Lyria touched the surface gently. You are still beautiful, she said. Beauty is not the same as purpose, the river replied. And the stillness deepened. So complete the world felt frozen. If a river stopped flowing too long, the valley would wither. If it fell fully asleep, it might never awaken. Silma's dream was dangerous, not because it longed for mountains, but because it longed enough to stop being a river. The first pulse of a new destiny. A gust of wind swept through the valley, scattering leaves across the still water. The river's surface shuddered, as though startled awake. I want to rise, It whispered, I want to climb again. I want to be tall. Lyria felt her heart pound. How can a river climb? With a dream bearer it answered, what is that? One who carries a dream I cannot hold alone. The water glowed beneath her fingertips. Will you carry mine? Lyria didn't understand. She didn't know what it meant, but the river was asking for her. And in that request was something sacred. I will, she whispered. Silma rippled gently, gratefully, and the stillness cracked. Just a little, a beginning. The dream of the mountain stirred beneath the surface, preparing to rise, and Lyria realized her life was no longer her own. She had become the dream bearer of a sleeping river, a river that wanted to climb the sky. Lyria woke before dawn, pulled by a soft call inside her chest. The river's whisper. Mist rose from Silma's still surface, drifting upward with intention. The mist curved toward the mountains. Silma longed sharply. I want to rise. I want to go home. I want to be more than water again. You can't climb, Lyria whispered. You're a river. Dreams make beginnings, Silma answered. The water rippled. The ground trembled. The sleeping river was waking, and when rivers wake from dreams, the land listens. The mountain in the water's heart. Lyria leaned over the still water. Visions poured into her. Towering peaks, frost crowns, wind sharp as crystal, the first drop of meltwater. Silma remembered being a mountain. Once I fell from great heights. The river wasn't sleeping. It was remembering. The burden of a dream bearer. What does a dream bearer do? Lyria whispered. A dream bearer holds shape for the shapeless. Gives direction to what drifts. Feels on behalf of what cannot feel enough. You want me to climb for you? Together, Silma replied. The dream-bearer bond tightened within her, warm and heavy. Lyria felt the weight of the river's dream. Its longing, its fear, its impossible desire to rise. If I fail to rise, I will sink, Silma warned. A river that dreams too deeply loses its flow. If the river sank into its dream, the valley would die. The first test of the dream. Silma stirred. The river thickened, shadows swirling beneath its surface. Follow. A pillar of water rose, upward trying to climb but collapsed instantly. Help me rise. Lyria breathed slowly, letting Silma's longing wash through her. She imagined the weight of stone, the stillness of ice, the spine of a mountain. The water rose again, smoother, almost forming a ridge, before snapping apart. We'll try again, she whispered. Together. The warning in the waters. The river deepened. A shadow stirred at the bottom. Ancient, massive, made of sediment and age. What is that? Lyria whispered. The foundation, Silma answered. The root of what I once was. A mountain spirit, buried under centuries of flow, opened its ancient eyes. If it wakes, Silma whispered, I may rise, or I may break. Break! Dreams are dangerous when they reach too far. The shadow stirred. The valley trembled. Silma asked, Dreambearer, do you still choose to carry this? Lyria swallowed. Afraid. Certain. Yes. The river glowed. The shadow rose. The earth that remembered. Silma's whisper trembled against Lyria's bones. The river did not move, the water did not flow, but something ancient beneath it shifted. The shadow at the bottom sharpened into shape. A deep rumble spread through the ground. Stones vibrated, roots shivered, and flocks of birds burst into the sky. Silma whispered, "The part of me that never fell." Two gleaming eyes opened in the depths, cold, patient, aware. The mountain spirit was waking, the spirit of height. A voice carved from stone echoed upward. "Who carries my memory?" Silma answered, "I do. You are water. Once I was not." The spirit judged her. "Stone remembers. Water forgets." Silma trembled. "I ache enough to remember." A shimmer of water rose briefly as if forming a mountain peak, then collapsed. "Water cannot rise," the spirit declared. Lyria stepped forward. "That isn't fair." "You speak," said the spirit. "You are small. Everyone is small beside a mountain." The spirit examined her. "Why are you here, river child?" "Because the river chose me. I carry its dream. The name of the dream bearer." "I am the dream bearer," Lyria said. The spirit recoiled. "Impossible." Silma stood firm. "Dreams change shape. A dream bearer holds danger," the spirit warned. "I know. A dream bearer carries burden." "I know. A dream bearer must climb where water cannot." "I know. Show me your strength," the spirit said. The test of stone and water. The riverbed cracked, revealing glowing stone, a rising path of ancient rock. Silma whispered, "To carry my dream, you must climb where I cannot." Lyria stepped onto the stone. The world shifted. The river became a slope, a cliff, a ridge spiraling upward through mist. Silma said, "My height, my cold, my silence." Lyria touched the dreamstone and felt the pride of holding the horizon. Then she felt the cracks, the shift, the fall. Silma whispered, "A dream bearer must carry all of me, even the part that broke, the height that breaks and heals." Wind struck her like a blade. "Why do you climb?" the spirit demanded. "Because the river dreams of rising." "That is not a reason." "Because I chose to carry this." "Still not enough." "Because someone has to believe a river can rise." The wind softened. Silma trembled with pride. Near the summit, dizzy and weak, Lyria nearly fell into the abyss of Silma's memory. The crushing moment of the fall. Silma whispered gently, "Do not be sorry. Help me rise." The summit inside a Diari at the peak stood a crown of shimmering water resting upon a spine of ancient rock. Silma's true origin. The spirit said, "River child, you have seen what water forgets and stone remembers. Should the river rise?" Lyria closed her eyes and chose, "Yes, but not alone." The river that lifted its own heart. The dream dissolved into cold light. Lyria fell into the real river, now moving. Silma surged, rising from within. The mountain spirit opened its ancient eyes beneath the water. Silma whispered, "Dream bearer, hold the dream steady. I will rise, but you must carry the shape of height for me." The entire river began to lift. The world that felt the river rise. When Lyria fell back into Silma's waking waters, the world trembled. The river surged upward, waves lifting not toward the sea but toward the sky. Villagers watched in terror as Silma tried to rise like a mountain returning to its ancient height. Silma whispered, "I remember standing. I remember being whole." The mountain spirit rumbled. "Hold its shape." Lyria closed her eyes, recalling the dream mountain she had climbed. Its cold, its spine, its crown, and held the image as best she could. Silma leaned into her strength. The river rose, the price of height, but rising hurt. Silma's memories were heavy, sharp, and cold. Height hurts, the river whispered. Remembering hurts. The river pulsed violently. If she stopped, she feared she would fall again. Back into broken stone, back into the moment of collapse. "You're not broken anymore," Lyria pleaded. Silma did not believe her. The burden of carrying height. The river rose too fast, too painfully. Lyria felt every tremor as though it were inside her chest. If Silma's dream grew too heavy, the river might burst, flooding the valley. Lyria cried, "Let me carry part of the height." The river slowed. The mountain spirit said, "Anchor the height." Lyria held the shape of the dream mountain stronger than Silma dreamed it. Height steadied. For the first time, Silma stopped shaking. When the river saw the sky, Silma whispered, "I can see the sky from inside myself." A glowing blue spread across the river's surface. The villagers stared in awe. A river that remembered being mountain stood again, briefly touching its old form. "We did it," Lyria whispered. "We did it," Silma replied. But the mountain spirit warned, holding height is not becoming it. The choice that should not exist. The spirit declared Silma must choose. Remain a river or strike the sky. Lyria refused this false choice. "She can be both," she argued. "She remembers both." "Memory is not form," the spirit said. "Memory is identity," Lyria insisted. Silma asked, "What am I?" "A river that once was a mountain," Lyria answered. "And you don't have to stop being either." "Movement," Silma whispered. "A new idea. A new kind of rising. The climb that did not break." Silma rose again, this time flowing upward, carrying form but not losing movement. A river rising like a mountain yet remaining water. The spirit bowed. This was new, a way that had never existed. "I am becoming," Silma whispered, the warning on the wind. As Silma held her new shape, wind shifted sharply. The spirit's voice darkened. "Something approaches. A rival dream. An answer to your rising." Silma trembled. "Dreambearer, do not let me fall." "I won't," Lyria promised. But beneath the water, another shadow stirred. Not stone, not river, but a movement that whispered, "Rise higher." The moment the water trembled, Silma's rising form shifted, trembling beneath a presence that did not belong to river, mountain, or sky. A thin crack of cold wind rippled across the glowing surface. Lyria felt the disturbance deep inside her chest, inside the Dreambearer bond. Something ancient was stirring, something dangerous. The mountain spirit spoke, "Prepare yourself. The river's rise has awakened more than memory. A shadow surfaced beneath the water. Not stone, not flow, not memory. Something thin, tall, and hungry. A height without foundation. The shadow of a false height. The shadow stretched upward like a column of smoke lit from within. Silma trembled. The mountain spirit growled. This is a hunger height. A dream gone wrong. The shadow whispered without a mouth. Higher, higher, higher. Silma whimpered. It wants what I want, but without memory, without meaning. Lyria stepped closer. Then it wants to rise higher than you. The shadow stretched even taller, as if agreeing. The river's fear. The hunger height pulled at Silma's dream. The river lurched upward too fast. Silma screamed through the bond. I cannot rise that fast. Lyria held the water. You don't have to. But the shadow rose endlessly. The mountain spirit roared. Anchor the height before the hunger height consumes the dream. Lyria pictured the dream mountain, but the shadow tore through the image like claws through silk. The climb beyond sense. Impossible heights flooded Lyria's vision. Peaks too thin to stand on. Summits with no foundations. Heights where no wind could survive. The shadow whispered, climb. Silma's identity cracked. I'm losing myself. The dreambearer's choice. The spirit turned to Lyria. Take the river's dream into yourself. Before the hunger height steals it. Lyria shook. I can't hold that weight. But Silma whispered. If you hold my dream, I can hold you. The shadow screamed. Higher. And Lyria made her choice. The water enters the heart. She pressed her palms into Silma and said, Give me your dream. The river obeyed. The dream mountain. Its frost, its spine, its longing, its shame, its hope, poured into Lyria's chest. She cried out as the weight of a former mountain filled her. Silma steadied. The shadow hissed in fury. The dreambearer rises. The hunger height lunged. Lyria lifted her hand. The dream inside her surged outward, forming the shape of the mountain behind her like a glowing guardian. The shadow struck and shattered. Silma whispered, Dreambearer, you did it. Lyria fell to her knees, breathless, the dream heavy inside her. You can't hold this forever, she whispered. Silma touched her hands with glowing water. We will share it. You hold the height. I hold the flow. Together we rise the right way. The spirit warned, once you carry a dream this large, the world will not let you stay small. Lyria swallowed. I'm afraid. Silma shone. Then rise slowly, and I will rise with you. The weight inside the dreambearer. The hunger height was gone, shattered beneath the force of a real dream. Yet Lyria remained on her knees, trembling under the impossible weight of Silma's mountain dream pulsing inside her chest. The dream beat like a second heart, cold, ancient, carved from stone. Silma curled around her hands, glowing softly. Dreambearer, you held me when I was slipping. Now I will hold you. Lyria struggled to breathe. I can't carry this forever. The mountain spirit rose from the water. No human can, nor should you. The river must now choose its path. The choice that cannot be escaped. Silma stirred nervously. Path? The spirit gestured. To the north lay the mountains. To the south the sea. A river rises once in its lifetime, and only once does it choose which world it belongs to. Silma trembled. Do I have to choose? Lyria held the glowing water. You won't lose me, Silma. Whatever path you choose, I walk with you. The rising of the ancient memory. Silma's memories rushed forth. Standing tall, falling hard, becoming water, flowing free. What am I, Lyria? Lyria whispered back. You are a dream that remembers. Silma shivered beneath the weight of her own heart. The final test. The spirit stepped back. Silma rose above the surface, a wavering figure of water shaped like both peak and wave. Choose, the spirit commanded. Silma cried out, Dreambearer, help me. Lyria placed a hand over her heart. Being a river and remembering a mountain isn't a burden. It's your gift. You don't have to choose between halves. You can be both. The river's decision. Silma's glow stabilized, neither blue nor silver, but something new. I choose both. The spirit recoiled. Impossible. Silma rose taller. I choose to rise and to flow, to remember and to move. I will share my dream. Silma whispered to Lyria, Dreambearer, give it back to me. Lyria returned the mountain dream, half into the river, half remaining in herself. For the first time, a dream belonged to both human and river. The birth of the third form. Silma rose, gently, beautifully, forming a crest, a flowing peak crowned with memory. A new form, a river mountain. The spirit bowed. You have created a third path. Lyria asked softly, Silma, how do you feel? Silma shimmered. Like I am finally tall in the right way. The new world. As Silma moved forward, the valley reshaped. Gentle rises formed along the banks. The flow climbed as much as it ran. The spirit rumbled. Your journey is not over. Lyria smiled. Good. The world could use reshaping. Silma whispered, Dreambearer, shall we rise? Lyria nodded. Let's rise. Together they moved forward, river carrying height, Dreambearer carrying flow, forming the first river mountain the world had ever known. End of story. The whisper of the sleeping river.